think out what if it came in from an internal route.
Okay. So, when do we say that we have to look at the way the needle is facing? That's only with a thick needle, but with a small needle, with a small needle, then it doesn't matter which way it's facing. We're always going to say that it made a hole, that it made its way through, because we don't have a way of proving. We don't have a way of proving.
Yeah, if it's all like a compass, spin in the other direction at the end, be facing the opposite way.
Right. The Gemara now asks, the Beis HaKaisus was the section of the stomachs that had the honeycomb skin, but there were two membranes there. If it's puncturing just on one of the membranes, that's kosher. But mishneit tzadim, it's treifa. But if it's going through and through, then it's treifa. But we don't say, when it comes to being punctured from one side, let's take a look at where the needle is facing, because it's possible that even if, let's say, the needle is only puncturing the inner membrane, however, the eye of the needle is facing outward. Why don't we say that it came through the outside, and we don't see the hole there. Well, the hole healed.
But all these other examples, we're concerned about the shape and the kind of needle. This is something that comes through the veshet already. Right. This is the stomach we're talking about.
Very good. So the Gemara says over here, Amri Hassam, over there, over here, it's not so much that it comes through the veshet, which is logical, that's where it should be. The only problem is that normally animals eat. There's going to be some things going in, thorns and needles, whatever they're going to eat. They're not so picky. But when it comes into the stomach, so there's food that's getting pushed, and the food could push the needle even in its opposite direction on the eye side into the wall of the stomach. That's why over there's no proof if it's facing in from the eye or the sharp part. There was a needle that was found in the large pipe of the liver, which is probably the aorta. Are there other arteries that are coming out of the liver?
No, what comes out of the liver is a vein. No. Well, yeah, then it goes into the vena cava is the main vein that goes through the body, going away from the heart and everything. The aorta is what goes from the heart to feed all the organs, and they're all connected through branches.
So here it says that in the big pipe in the liver. So what would you assume that would be?
I think that's the porta hepatis.
Okay.
So I think it's the branch of that's going away from the liver.
It doesn't say. It doesn't say going away.
Well, again, there's going to be a branch that goes into the liver from the aorta, and a branch that's going away from the liver into either its belly button or into.
So there's options here of what this means. So Huna Mar Breder Ravidi Tarif. Huna Mar, the son of Ravidi, says that it's treif. Ravada Bar Minyumi Machsher. Ravada Bar Minyumi says that it's kosher. Asu Shailula Ravina. They went to ask Ravina. Amar Lahu, Ravina says, Shkula Glima de Trufai. Take the cloak off the people that said that it's treif, which means they have to pay for it because it was really kosher. They made a mistake. It should be kosher. I guess that assumption would be, again, that it came through the lungs into the heart and into the whatever pipe it was. Yes. Hu Kashisa. There was a date pit. A pit of a date that was found in the gall. Amar Ravashi, Kiavina Bei Rav Kana. Ravashi says, when I was in the house of Rav Kana, the yeshiva of Rav Kana, Amar Havadai Simpuna Nakat Vasai. This had to have come down through the lungs, and what came in like with that description came through the heart, and some. Is that possible? Some kind of that it comes through the lungs.
I don't think it's possible. We're talking
Well-
about weird anatomical events here.
No, there's also like what's called the patent ductus arteriosus, PDA, that we find sometimes in a newborn infant, and then eventually closes on its own. That is a communication between the heart and the lungs. So, I mean, I'm not a vet, but maybe they have it more often, and maybe sometimes it takes longer to close, and then something goes through. I don't know.
So here he says that this date pit, even though if you squeeze the opening to the gall and you try to you try to push it through, it doesn't go through. So how do you say it came in through there? The opening is too small. So mirbalhu the ravalei, it through the movement it slipped its way through. Sometimes things can get in, you can't get it out. So, but with a lot of the animal moving back and forth, bahani mili the dikla, but that's only if it's a pit of a date palm. Aval dezesa, but if it's an olive pit, mivza baza, then that pierced through. The olive pit seems to be sharper than the date. Rabbi Yochanan. Now, I just want to point out, Rashi says that made a hole just like a needle, and the one that says that it's treif by the needle is going to say that it's treif here. Who said it's treif by a needle? Reish Lakish. Tosfos is bothered by this. He says, what? We have Rav Ashi saying that we're going to pass him like Reish Lakish. Whenever there's a machlekes Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, we should go like Rabbi Yochanan. So he doesn't want to learn that this is a psak. Tosfos doesn't want to learn that this is a psak for that machlekes before. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Lama nikar shema reya. Why is it called the reya? Right, it's interesting. The lungs, it's called the reya. Huh?
Now I ask it.
That's a good point. Shemi'ira seinayim, because it lightens up the eyes.
It's called vitamin A.
I'm sorry?
Vitamin A. The liver is very, very high in vitamin A.
And is that good for the eye?
That's it's specifically
Wow.
good for the eye.
Wow, isn't that interesting?
The vitamin A is the highest in the liver.
This is the lung.
Yeah, but this is lungs.
Oh. I thought it was the liver.
Lung, liver.
It's got me lung.
I thought it was liver.
It's got me lung.
The Gemara has a question. Ala achila ayal yidei samanim. I understood this Gemara differently than the way the classical commentaries. Just reading it, I thought it meant, does this mean when you eat it, it's good for your eyes, or does it mean as a potion, it's good for your eyes, like you to put it on your eye, like or something? But that's not what it means. The commentaries say what it means is just to eat it plain, or does it mean with other herbs and things that are
raw?
I don't know, raw, but cooked without spices, or is it with all the spices and herbs that make it healthy for the eyes? Tashema, come and listen to Rav Huna Bar Yehuda. Rav Huna Bar Yehuda says, Abza bezuza v'reya didei barba. You can buy a goose for 1 zuz. However, but if you want to buy the lungs in the deli, it costs 4 zuz. V'sal kedai techla achila, and if it's just to eat it, and that's what's the good thing, linka bezuza v'leichel. So why don't you just buy the whole duck? It's cheaper. So ela yedei saman. It must be that the way that it's prepared is what makes it healthy. Let's say there's a hole in the lungs after you take it out, but that's in the area where the butcher had put his hands in. So do we talinan? Do we say that it was the butcher's fault? I like talinan. Or do we say that it was there before while the animal was alive and it was a treifa animal?
What, the butcher put the needle in there?
No. There's just a hole. There's no needle. There's just a hole, but it could be it came from his nail.
Yeah, a fingernail.
Fingernail. Ravada Bar Nassan Amar, actually, it's probably Ravacha Bar Nassan on the side. Ravacha Bar Nassan says Talinan that we can say that it was the butcher. Marzutra Breder Rav Mari Amalei Talinan. Marzutra, son of Rav Mari, says no, it's going to be treif. V'hilchas Talinan. The halach is that you can say that it was probably the butcher that caused the tear, in the lung. Rashi over here says, no, it's going to be later on, but we'll point it out shortly. This concept of the Hilchasa. Rav Shmuel Breder Rav Avo. Rav Shmuel, the son of Rav Avo, says, Abba, my father, Mereshi Kala. He was the head of the Kala. He was the one that would speak up to announce the halachas of the Rav that was darshaning by the Kala. Kala means the gathering where the people would come to study, and they would come in the off seasons of the agricultural. When they finished planting and after they harvested and everything was set, there were 2 months of the year. It was Elul and I believe Adar, where they would come and they had time off. Just simply everything was set. There was nothing to do in the field.
Jewish retreat.
It was a Jewish retreat, and they would come and they would learn. So that all the big events were taking place. The
Yom Kippur is
Reishi Kala, Reishi Kala. Here's the Reishi Kala. He says, my father was the Reishi Kala, the Rafram Hava of Rafram. Rafram was one of the sages. But Amar, and he said Talinan. He said that you can rely that it was the butcher's fingernail. Amrua Kamei Laha de Marzutra. They said it to Rav Shmuel Breder Rav Avo. Marzutra says that Loi Talinan. Marzutra Breder Amar. V'lei Kibla. He said he didn't accept that. Amar Rav Mesharshia. Rav Mesharshia says, Kavasei da Avua da Abba Mistabra. My grandfather is probably right. Now, it doesn't tell us who his grandfather is, but it's Ravacha Bar Nassim, or Ravada Bar Nassim, the one that we said before. I had to look this up because there's no allusion to this. And when I looked it up in the book, it only has, this is the only source for this. That's Rav Mesharshi is the grandson of Ravacha Bar Nassim. To Hatalin and Bezev. Because we have this story where the butcher was cutting up the animal, and a wolf came and took one part of the animal. When they got it back, this piece of the animal, it was punctured. We said, well, it was punctured by the wolf. We don't have to say that it was punctured before, and the teeth of the wolf went into the same holes that were there before. We don't have to say that. We say, so the same thing is with the butcher put his hand in. We'll assume that he's the one that caused that. Morna. Morna means worms. This is like your story. There were worms in the lungs. Pligi bar Rab Yosef bar Dusai v'Rabbanan. It's machlokes. Rab Yosef bar Dusai and the rabbis. Chadam ar koydem shchita perish, v'chadam malach shchita perish. What happens is, they saw the worms making a hole in the membrane, in the outer membrane of the lung. Now, the question is, when did it make that hole? While it was alive, or after it died? Now, while it's alive, it may have been more difficult for it because the lungs are inhaling, exhaling. The movement could be hard for the worms to get through. Once everything is still, then that could be easier for the worms to make its way through. So that's our question here. There's a machlokes. Now we see holes in the lungs. Do we say that all the worms, they were there before, but did they make their way out after the animal died and they punctured the lungs, or while it was alive? Big difference if the animal is kosher or not. The hilchasa, the halacha is la'achar shchita parish, that it was after the shchita.
That's kosher. That
is kosher. Okay. Reb Shimon says, until it's a hole in the lungs is not a problem, unless it's a hole all the way into the bronchial tube, and we said at the main bronchial tube. Amar Rabba Bar Tachlifa, and on the side it says it's supposed to be Amar Rabba Bar Tachlifa, Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Bar Rabba. It's supposed to be Rabbi Yirmiyah Bar Rabba Amar Rav. You have to add in Amar Rav.
We don't pass him like this.
Let's see. He says it needs to be punctured all the way, according to Reb Shimon, into the large bronchial tube. Yosef Ravacha bar Abba, Kamid Rav Huna. Rav Acha bar Abba is sitting in front of Rav Huna. V'Yosef v'Kamar, and he says, Amar Rabbi Maloich. Maloch, it's supposed to be. Yeah, on the side, you see do you have a Yavitz on the side? I have a Yavitz. He says actually how I'm supposed to read this name. I have to read it. Amar Rabbi Malach. Rabbi Malach says, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, in the name of Rabbi Shua ben Levi, halacha Reb Shimon. Halacha is like Reb Shimon. A hole in the lungs is not a problem unless it reaches all the way into the tube. Amalei. Rav Huna tells him, Maloich Arva Kamret. You're talking about Maloich the Arab? He lived in Arabia. So, Ein halacha Reb Shimon Kamar. He didn't say the halacha is like Reb Shimon. He said Ein halacha the halacha is not like Reb Shimon. You heard him saying Reb Shimon, but you didn't hear he said not yes. It's a big difference.
Well, maybe because he has an Arab accent.
Oh, maybe because it's in.
Yeah.
It's in halacha. In is yes. It's sort of like saying, like going like this. No, it's like confusing. Okay, Kisalik Reb Zera. When Reb Zera went up to Eretz Yisrael, asked Chila Rabibi. He finds Rabibi, the Yosef Kamar, that was sitting and saying, Amar Reb Malach, Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Allah Reb Shimon. Allah is like Reb Shimon. And Reb Malach says in the name of Rabbi Shua ben Levi that Allah is like Reb Shimon, a big difference in halacha. Amalei, Chayi Demar. By your life. Like this is a way, expression of swearing. Danav Rab Chia Barabba Barabasi. Myself, this is Rabibi. Rab Chia Barabba and Rabasi. Akliin and last read Rab Malach. We were actually there where Rabbi Malach is. Va'amrilei. And he said, Va'amrilei. We said to him, Yamar Mar Halacha Rab Shimon. Did the master say the halacha is like Rab Shimon? Va'amrilan Ein Halacha Rab Shimon. Amri. He told us. I said the halacha is not like Rab Shimon. But what do you have to say? He said the halacha is like Reb Shimon. He says, first-hand testimony, Rabbi Malach said that it's not like Reb Shimon. I have a statement. Rabbi Yitzchak Barami, in the name of Rabbi Shua ben Levi, says that the halacha is like Reb Shimon. The Gemara concludes, Vein halacha Reb Shimon. The halacha is not like Reb Shimon, like you said. Rashi over here is what I wanted to point out. He says, Yeshiva ha'achreina nifsko halachas halalo apsukas stam b'gemara. The later yeshivas were the ones that put the halachas into the Gemara.
When he says later yeshivas of Amoraim?
I believe it means the Rabbanan Savarai.
Wow. So they added it.
They added it. It was added in after the conclusion, like Ga'inim, early Ga'inim. Rabbanan Savarai. You see, around the year 500, it was Ravashi. And so it's 1,500 years ago. The Talmud was sealed. After that, they were still editing the things. The main basic things of the Talmud that was done. It was already organized, and the Masechtas were there, and it was set up.
So wasn't there a Kabbalah of who the halacha was before?
Yes. But there were some additions that get added in.
So the Rabbanan could go against the Amoraim? Who said what the
No, I don't think they went against. They added in certain lines to clarify. We have pieces in the Gemara that are from the Bahag. It's the Bal Halachas Gedolos, which is later one of the Goinim.
They were the next generation after the Amoraim.
Okay. Was it gone or was he a
He was in around
1,000.
Okay. Nikva Keva. If the section of the stomach that goes to the Kayanim has a hole in it. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani, Amar Rabbi Ishia. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Nachmani says in the name of Rabbi Ishia, Chelev shal gabi keva Kayanim nago bahet. You see, every time we slaughtered an animal, we had to give the Kayan a piece, a few pieces. Israel Chaim Keva. They had to get this section of the stomach. Now, what were they going to do with this section of the stomach besides make cheese? But there was also fat on the keva. So,
the
I'm
keva,
sorry?
you couldn't eat it?
What is the mix?
The Jerusalem mix.
The Jerusalem mix.
You couldn't make
you couldn't eat the keva. It's a skin, a stomach skin. You couldn't eat it. In the keva, you could either use the meat of the keva as an enzyme for rennet to curdle the milk, or if it was a young calf and it had nursed and suckled and there was milk inside that it wasn't fully digested, you could take that also as rennet and use it for cheese. Otherwise, there wasn't much from that. However,
that's the original tofu, the power of cheese.
So the Kayanim would use the fat on the keva. The question, if there's two types of fat. There's chaylev and there's shuman. Some fat is you're allowed to eat, some fat you're not. So what about this fat that's on the keva? Well, the Kayanim said, oh, this is fine. Now, Rabbi Yishmael, they went according to Rabbi Yishmael. Sha'amar Mishum Avaisav, Rabbi Yishmael says, from his fathers, from tradition, that the fat on the keva is fine. V'simanach, you want to remember this? Who holds this? Yishmael Kana Messiah Kani. Yishmael the Kayan is helping out the Kayanim. Rabbi Yishmael was a Kayan Gadol. His grandfather was, for sure. So, Maihi, where do we have this, that he's helping out the Kayanim? The Tanya, starting the Brisa, Kaisavarchas b'nei Yisrael, so you shall bless the Jewish people. Rabbi Shmuel Amar, Rabbi Shmuel says, Lamanu bracha li Yisrael. We see that the Jewish people get blessed by the Kayanim. Mipi Kayanim, from the mouth of the Kayanim. But l'Kayan Atzmam, what about the Kayanim? Lamanu, we don't know where they get blessed. When it says, I shall bless them, God is saying, it means the Kayanim bless the Jews, but the Kayanim themselves are blessed directly from God. Rabbi Kiva says, we know that the Jewish people get the bracha, mipi Kayanim, from the mouth of the Kayanim, mipi Gvura le'lamanu, but we don't know that the Jewish people got blessed from God. When it says, I shall bless them, who's the them? It's a pronoun. Doesn't tell us who it is. The Kainim bless the Jewish people, and Hashem blesses the Jews.
Through their hands.
Okay. Rabbi Akiva, bracha l'Kayanim minale. Rabbi Akiva left out. Where does the Kayanim get the bracha according to Rabbi Akiva? It says by Avraham, those that bless you shall be blessed. Indirectly, the Kayanim get blessed. My Messiah Kayani. So why do we say that Rabbi Shmuel helps the Kayanim? Rabbi Kiva also says that they get blessed. It says the Mukalei leberchas Kayanim b'mbracha di Yisrael, because he puts the bracha of the Kayanim in the same place where the Jewish people get the bracha, which is the same pasuk bani avarchim, as opposed to this indirect way, those that bless shall be blessed. Okay. Rabbi Shmuel Shema Mishum Avaisav Mahi. Where does Rabbi Shmuel say in the name of his fathers? What is that? The Tanya was taught. Eskol ha'chelav asher al ha'kerev. All the fat that is on the innards. L'havi chelav shal hadakin. This is coming to include the fat that's on the intestines. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. That's the words of Rabbi Shmuel. That's forbidden. Rabbi Akiva Eimer, however, Rabbi Akiva says L'havi chelav shal gabi ha'keva. Rabbi Akiva says the fat that's on the keva, that's what's forbidden. Rabbi Shmuel doesn't hold the fat that's on the keva is forbidden. Why? Because the Kayanim are going to, not why, but the Kayanim are going to, that's the benefit to the Kayanim is because the Kayanim get that, they're going to eat it. Let's stop so we don't feel rushed.
Oh, wow.
Tomorrow I'm not going to be here.